In China, there's a new highway that literally climbs mountains like a roller coaster. 3 levels of road spiraling up a mountain face in a perfect corkscrew. But that's just number 2 on this list. Today, you're witnessing 5 highways that defy physics, conquered impossible terrain, and redefined what's possible when mountains stand in the way. From 5-story interchanges stacked on mountainsides to hand-carved tunnels through sheer cliffs, these roads don't go around obstacles, they go straight through them. And number 5 will make you question if GPS even works anymore. Number 5. The Qianchun Interchange. You're driving through Guizhou province. Mountains everywhere. The road ahead splits into what looks like 5 roads? No. 10? You can't even tell anymore. Welcome to the Qianchun Interchange. 5 complete layers of highway, stacked vertically. 18 ramps twisting in 8 different directions. The highest point towers 37 meters above the ground. From above, it looks like someone dropped a plate of spaghetti on a mountain and said, "That's the highway now." Here's the problem. Guizhou's mountains don't negotiate. The terrain is brutal, steep, unforgiving. There's no flat land to build a normal interchange. None. So the engineers did something insane. They built up instead of OUT. Roads loop over other roads, under other roads, around other roads. You're driving on level 3 while cars pass above you on level 4 and below you on level 2. Your brain can't process it. You're going forward but also climbing, turning right but somehow ending up above where you started. Take one wrong exit, you're not just lost. You're lost on the wrong floor of highway. Suddenly, you're spiraling upward when you needed to descend. Your GPS freezes, recalculates, gives up. 8 years of construction, 8 years of anchoring, support pillars into unstable mountain slopes. 8 years of asking, can we physically stack another road on top of this? The answer? Yes. They could. They did. Now it exists. A 5-story knot of concrete wrapped around a mountainside. Social media called it a nightmare for motorists. Engineers called it a masterpiece. But that was just the beginning of China's war against mountains. Number 4. The Huangjuewan Overpass. If Chian Chun made you dizzy, Huang Juan will break your sense of reality. 20 ramps, 5 levels, 8 directions. Over 16,000 meters of spiraling road carved through the mountains of Chongqing. Chongqing is called the 8D city, and it's not a joke. This is where mountains slam into rivers, where flat land doesn't exist, where the entire city is built on slopes, cliffs, and vertical chaos. They needed a highway interchange to connect the airport, major bridges, and districts across impossible terrain. The mountain said no. The engineers said, watch this. They built upward, again, but this time, bigger, more complex, more insane. Picture this. You're driving on level 3. Above you, 2 more complete layers of highway. Below you, 2 more layers disappearing into the valley. Roads crossing over themselves at heights equivalent to a 12-story building. And you're supposed to navigate this while traveling at highway speed. Here's where it gets worse. The entire structure sits on mountain slopes, not flat ground, slopes. Every support pillar had to be anchored into unstable earth. Every ramp calculated to climb or descend at angles that wouldn't send vehicles sliding sideways. Construction started in 2009. For 8 years, engineers fought the mountain, fought gravity, fought the laws of physics that said you can't stack 20 highway ramps on a mountainside. They finished in 2017. The result? Drivers enter and have no idea which level they're on. GPS systems see 5 layers of road in the same location and short circuit. One motorist said, take the wrong ramp and you'll drive around the entire city before you figure out where you are. But officials insisted, it's simple. The signs are clear, they said. You can correct any mistake within 10 minutes. 10 minutes of spiraling through 5 levels of mountain highway, wondering if you'll ever see flat ground again. At night, it lights up, a glowing web of roads climbing through the darkness. From viewing platforms in Huangjuewan Park, tourists stare in disbelief. It looks like something from a science fiction movie. Except it's real, and people drive through it every single day. But China wasn't done pushing limits. Number 3. Tianmen Mountain Road. Forget stacking highways. What if you just folded one road 99 times up a mountain face? That's exactly what they did at Tianmen Mountain. 11 kilometers, 99 hairpin turns, starting at 200 meters elevation, ending at 1,300 meters. The road doesn't gradually climb the mountain, it attacks it. Violently. They call it the Avenue Toward Heaven, and when you see it from above, you understand why. It looks like someone took a white ribbon and folded it 99 times up a near vertical slope. Each fold is a hairpin turn so tight that buses have to swing wide into the opposite lane just to make it around. Here's the nightmare. The road is about half the width of a normal mountain highway. On one side, solid rock face. On the other side, nothing, just air. And a 1,000-foot drop into the valley below. Oh, and the public isn't allowed to drive it. Too dangerous. Only professional drivers who've memorized every single turn. These drivers navigate over 2,000 hairpin bends per day. Some make 10 round trips every single day. One mistake, one moment of lost focus, and the road offers no forgiveness. But here's what really matters. The number 99. In Chinese culture, 9 is the luckiest number. It represents completeness, eternity. The emperors of ancient China reserved it for the Forbidden City. So when engineers planned this road to Tianmen Cave, the gateway to heaven, they didn't choose 99 turns by accident. They chose it because this road was always meant to be impossible. Construction started in 1998. It took 8 years, over 100 million yuan, carving into a mountain face that didn't want to be carved. Creating switchbacks so extreme that from the cable car above, passengers can see the road pass over itself multiple times as it spirals upward. Sitting in a tour bus, you feel it. The constant turning. Right, left, right, left. 99 times. The valley floor dropping further away with each bend. Your inner ear screaming that something is wrong, that roads don't do this, can't do this. But they do. You're climbing to the sky on a road that refuses to acknowledge the word impossible. Every hairpin turn revealing another glimpse of the void beside you. Every switchback taking you higher into the clouds. Then came the most devastating challenge of all. Number 2, the Tianlong Mountain Spiral. This is it. The highway that actually climbs mountains like a roller coaster. Not hairpin turns, not stacked levels. A literal corkscrew carved into a mountain. 3 complete loops of road, spiraling around themselves, rising over 350 meters vertically. You enter at the bottom, you exit at the top, and in between, you drive in circles while climbing straight up. Welcome to the Tianlong Mountain Spiral Highway. Near Taiyuan in Shanxi province, engineers stared at a problem that had no traditional solution. The mountain face was too steep. A normal road would require a gradient so extreme that vehicles couldn't climb it safely. Switchbacks like Tianmen's 99 bends, the mountain didn't have enough horizontal space. Stacking levels like the interchanges, the terrain was too unstable. Every conventional approach failed before it started. So they asked a different question. What if the road didn't fight the mountain? What if it wrapped around it? The answer was radical. Build a triple-helix. Let the road spiral around the mountain face like a thread on a screw. Each complete circle gains elevation gradually. 3 circles stacked vertically. The road climbs not by fighting gravity, but by spreading the climb across horizontal distance. But here's the engineering nightmare. Each loop had to support the structural load of the loop above it. The mountain face had to be reinforced at multiple points to anchor 3 levels of spiraling concrete. And the banking angles had to be perfect, too steep, and vehicles slide outward, too shallow, and the turns become dangerous at speed. They calculated every degree of curve, every meter of elevation gain. The spiral had to be tight enough to climb efficiently, but gentle enough to drive safely. Too tight and large vehicles couldn't navigate it. Too loose, and it would require too much mountain real estate. The result? A highway that rises 350 meters while you complete just 3 rotations. From below, it looks impossible. From above, it's 3 perfect rings of white concrete embracing the mountain, each loop visible from the others, creating a visual that shouldn't exist in reality. This wasn't just engineering ambition, it was engineering poetry. They turned a vertical obstacle into a circular solution. The mountain demanded height, so they gave it spirals. Gravity demanded respect, so they distributed the climb across distance. Drivers enter that first loop and feel it immediately, the constant gentle curve, the steady climb that never feels steep because it's spread across an entire circle. By the third loop, you've gained the height of a skyscraper without ever feeling like you conquered a mountain. You just went in circles, 3 times, and somehow, impossibly, you're at the top. It's the perfect fusion of roller coaster and highway. But for sheer impossible audacity, nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to number 1. Number 1. Guoliang Tunnel. Forget modern engineering. Forget million-dollar budgets and structural calculations. What if 13 farmers with hammers decided to carve a road through a mountain? By hand. The year is 1972. Deep in the Taihang Mountains of Henan Province sits the village of Guoliang. 350 people, perched on a cliff at 1,700 meters elevation, surrounded on 3 sides by sheer mountain faces. On the 4th side, a vertical drop. For centuries, the only way in or out was the sky ladder, a treacherous stone stairway carved into the cliff face, so narrow that only one person could pass at a time, so steep that a single misstep meant death. Villagers died on those stairs. Regularly. The village begged the government for a road. For years, they begged. The government looked at the terrain and said no. Impossible. Too dangerous. Too expensive. Find another way. There was no other way. So the village leader, Shen Mingxin, made a decision that would define impossible. If the government wouldn't build them a road, they'd build it themselves. 13 men volunteered. Not one of them was an engineer. Not one had construction experience. They were farmers, with hammers and chisels. They sold their livestock, sold their crops. Everything they had went into buying tools. 4,000 hammers, 12 tons of steel, explosives. And then they walked to the base of the cliff and started swinging. Their plan? Carve a tunnel straight through the mountain face. 1.2 kilometers through solid granite. The mountain didn't care about their determination. The rock was unforgiving. At the hardest sections, they progressed 1 meter every 3 days. 1 meter. Swinging hammers for 72 hours straight just to advance 3 feet. They had no blueprints, no structural analysis. They followed the path of least resistance, finding natural weaknesses in the rock and carving where the stone would yield. That meant the tunnel twisted, dipped, rose unexpectedly. There was no straight path, because they were making it up as they went. But here's the genius. As they carved deeper into the mountain, they needed to remove the rubble, so they blasted windows through the outer cliff face. 30 windows of random shapes and sizes. Some round, some square, some massive, some small. Whatever it took to push the broken rock out and let light in. 5 years. Some workers died when the rock collapsed. The others kept swinging. May 1st, 1977. The tunnel opened. 1.2 kilometers long, 5 meters tall, 4 meters wide, barely enough room for one vehicle. The walls? Rough-hewn granite, unfinished, raw. You can see every hammer strike, every chisel mark. And those 30 windows? Now they frame the most terrifying views imaginable. You're driving through the mountain's interior. Darkness. Then, suddenly a window. Blinding light. And through it, you see a 1,000-foot drop to the valley below. Then, darkness again. Another turn. Another window. Another glimpse of the void. The tunnel follows no logic because it was never planned. It twists left without warning, dips down unexpectedly. The path carved by 13 men who had no idea what they were doing, only that they refused to stay trapped. There are no lights inside. Your headlights reveal rough stone walls closing in. The road's so narrow that if you meet oncoming traffic, someone has to reverse back to a window opening. The windows themselves are structural nightmares, holes blasted through the only thing keeping the mountain from collapsing on you. Engineers call it the road that does not tolerate mistakes. One error in judgment, one moment of distraction, and the cliff face is right there, through the windows, waiting. But here's what makes Guoliang Tunnel the greatest of them all. Every other highway on this list used modern technology, professional engineers, government funding, heavy machinery. This tunnel was carved by farmers who refused to accept impossible. They had hammers, they had determination, and they had a village that needed a road.
So they swung. For 5 years, they swung. And when they were done, they'd created something that shouldn't exist.
A passage through a mountain that modern engineers wouldn't attempt without millions in funding and years of geological surveys. Today, tourists drive through it in awe. The rough walls, the irregular windows, the unpredictable curves, every inch of it screams that it was hand-carved by people who had no right to succeed. But they did. Because sometimes the most daring engineering doesn't come from universities or corporations. Sometimes it comes from 13 farmers who looked at a mountain and said, "We're going through." And then they picked up their hammers and made it happen.